प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्ताम् सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्।
Bhumirapo analo vayuh kham. These are the external material elements. Then the internal elements are manaha, buddhihi, ahankaraha. These are the three. So 5 external and 3 internal. Mano, buddhi, ahankara. These 8 together is my eightfold prakriti or creation. That means these are all objective. When he is saying prakriti, you should remember that it is all objective. Actually the subject is only the Atma. It cannot be known as anything different as an object before us. All other things are object. Not only that, anything that undergoes a change is in the fold of creation, within the causal chain. So they are all objects. Objects means not gross objects, subtle objects also. Our mind is undergoing changes constantly. So it is an object before the subject I, but it is not gross, it is subtle. Buddhi also, everything. Saying that, he says, Apareyam itastu anyam prakritim. Acha, I have not chanted. Na? Apareyam itastu anyam.
Apareyam itastu anyam.
Prakritim vidhi me param.
Prakritim vidhi me param.
Jiva bhutam mahabaho.
Jiva bhutam mahabaho.
Yaedam dharyate jagat.
Yaedam dharyate jagat.
This is very important. He is saying, O Mahabaho, yam apara prakriti. Nikrishta. Apara means it is the inferior. Tu itah anyam jiva bhutam me param prakritim vidhi. Yaya idam jagat dharyate. He says that this eightfold prakriti I am talking about, it is the inferior prakriti. Because they are all in the objective range fully, objective ken. Including mind, buddhi, ahankara. All are my inferior prakriti. When he is saying my inferior prakriti means actually the consciousness, the Purusha, he is identifying himself with that. So for him, you can call Ishvara also, the consciousness part is the Purusha and the objective part is the Prakriti. In all these descriptions, various ways they describe, but basically the conscious element is the Purusha and the object elements which are revealed by the consciousness, they are the Prakriti. So he says this eightfold Prakriti is the Apara Prakriti, means the inferior Prakriti. Know that different from this is my Para Prakriti. Prakritim param prakritim vidhi. Me param prakritim vidhi. Know my superior or supreme prakriti, which is different from these 8. What is that supreme or superior prakriti? That is by which jiva bhutam ya idam jagat dharyate. By which I take the form of appear like a jiva, a small purusha, jiva, and by which I hold the entire world. This is a very, very important statement. That the formation of the jiva, that whole world, as I am saying, that world we are seeing, is it a reflection in our consciousness? It is the whole thing is in the consciousness. But when we are seeing in association with the body-mind complex, we are thinking that consciousness is small. Actually, it is not small. Consciousness is the ultimate truth consciousness, but with the association of the body-mind complex, it appears to be small. As I said, that the example I gave the other day, light is coming and you hold a small mirror, you have a secondary beam here. Now, with the association of the mirror, the light undergoes changes. If you turn the mirror, the secondary beam will, the reflected beam will move. With that you will see. So, with the association of the mirror, this light itself is appearing to be coming from the mirror, a small thing, and each mirror is reflecting in a different manner. So, they are the individual jivas, individual being. Now, if the mirror becomes defective, suppose the mirror breaks or the mirror becomes opaque, then what happens to the secondary beam? It is gone, it is no more there. That is our death. But by the mirror becoming opaque or non-reflective, has anything happened to the original light which was coming? Nothing happens to that. Suppose a wave is reflecting the moon or the sun. If the wave is not there, when the wave falls, the sun also is missing. The sun which was being reflected by the wave, that sun goes. If you have 100 waves, then the 100 suns you are seeing. It is only one sun. But of the 100 waves, if 5 waves go, then the 5 suns are apparently missing there, the reflection sun. That is exactly what is happening in death. Now the question is, am I relating myself to that reflected sun or the mirror reflection, or am I identifying myself to the original light? This is all the difference. As long as we are associating ourselves with the reflection, we are changing, things are changing, we are dying, we are getting born, everything is happening. When we are associating with the original light, it is reflected by so many people, so many waves are coming, so many waves are falling. I am the sea, I hold all the waves like that. So, there are two names for this. One is called this reflection in our personality, in our buddhi, generally we say in our bodhi. The reflection of consciousness, which we consider to be our I, that we consider that is what I am. That is called Chit Abhasa, Chidabhasa. Also it is called Adhishthana Chaitanya. That is why I am saying that Adhishthana is this Adhishthana Chaitanya, this consciousness. But when suppose by accident or anything, when we fall unconscious, absolutely unconscious, then after getting back the consciousness, we are able to say that for how much time we don't know. It could be hours, it could be days, it could be a fraction of a second also. But there was a gap we know. Is it not? So who is revealing this gap? Now when the unconsciousness is there, our so-called awareness is not there, which we call consciousness, awareness, etc. That is not there. But that is not there means no signal is there at all. The external signals are not registering by our body, mind, personality. But something is revealing that at that time there was no signal at all. Is it not? Otherwise, how do we know? You are finding there is a break in the continuity. Earlier this was happening and now it is like this. In between there is a break. That break is revealed by the consciousness, that is the real consciousness. But what we are referring to generally, the awareness, is this reflected consciousness which goes when we are unconscious or so. That is called the Chidabhasa or the Adhishthana Chaitanya. That is the Chit, reflection of Chit in the Buddhi, which reveals to us. Now at that time the buddhi was not working, no change was taking place, so that time he will not know. Time means some changes will be there. To understand time there must be some process, some change. Because nothing was registered, so you don't know any change. So you will not be able to understand for how long I was unconscious. That from the external situation, oh, हमारा बच्चा तो अभी बड़ा हो गया, तो कई साल हो गया हम unconscious थे. That seeing the external situation you will say. In Samadhi what happens is that our all buddhi, mind, everything is silent. It has not slept off. In this case, unconscious is everything is sleeping. They are not responding to anything. In Samadhi there is no signal, but the buddhi is aware. All are aware, all are awake. Buddhi is awake, mind is awake, everything is awake. Even the body also will not fall. How do you know the difference? Suppose sitting you sleep, then you will become, or like this he will become. He became almost like that. So something you will not be able to hold. But in samadhi that will not happen. And you will feel very refreshed and all. Nothing will happen. Only the no signal state you will be able to detect there. So the consciousness reveals itself at that point. See, this was the great argument on which ground Shankaracharya won over all the Buddhists. Because Buddhism as was propagated at that time, Shankaracharya came 1200 years after actual Buddha passed away, the first Buddha passed away. And within 20 years of Buddha's passing away, there were so many factions. So we don't know really what was Buddhism. But as it was propagated, the main difference with our Upanishads was that we always say that the ultimate is one, Purna, and I am that. That is the ultimate reality. It is Purna, it is full, because everywhere that consciousness is. Whereas Buddhism used to say that the ultimate truth is Shunya, there is nothing. Shunya, there is nothing. Now both have the experience of Samadhi. The Samadhi, they are explaining as it is Shunya, because at that time no world is there, it is Shunya. And the Vedantin is saying it is Purna. And their argument was, Shankaracharya's argument was that how are you saying it is Shunya? You were there. Do you get my point? If you were not there, can you know that Shunya, that there was no signal? How will you know that Shunya? You were there, you found that it is Shunya. There was no other external, any other. You means not the body, mind, personality, but the I-ness in us, that consciousness in us. If you are not, because you were there but you did not have any world signal, any external signal or internal signal, you felt that it is Shunya. But this Shunya knowledge, how are you having? You have known that it is Shunya. Actually, it is the Purna with you only. You are the Purna, everything is full with that. Because you are looking always, our habit from birth, our habit is to have some external signal. We are looking always for external something. So when there is no external signal, we feel that it is Shunya. Because our mind is still looking for something external and it's not finding. So it is Shunya. That is the interpretation. The experience is the same. It is a aparokshanubhuti where no knowledge, no difference, nothing was there. It is a consciousness revealing itself. So it is consciousness alone, consciousness and consciousness alone. One is saying that there is nothing because his mind, when he is interpreting, his mind is on objects, that object should be there. Whereas our Vedanta said that that is the real. When the object, the world comes back, it is appearing in that consciousness. So the whole vision changes. The whole world is appearing in that. So this reflection of this Chit, the ultimate consciousness in the Buddhi, in our personality, is called Chidabhasa or Adhisthana Chaitanya. Why it is called Adhisthana Chaitanya? That is why I came to this 7th chapter. Because it is holding the Adhisthana means substratum. Adhisthana means substratum. It is holding the entire Jagat, entire world. The whole world impression is coming on that. So in the consciousness is becoming small with the association of body-mind complex, and according to the Indriyas, the world perception is there. If the Indriyas are different, that perception will be different. But the whole world perception is held in that consciousness. So it is called Adhisthana Chaitanya. That is the Adhisthana. Now to us that Adhisthana also is changeful. It is always, just now it was not there, now it has come back. So it is changeful. Anything that was not there and which has come back, the awareness was not there, it has come back, means it is changeful. It is created, it is having birth, death, etc. In death, that is what is going. So that is part of the changeful Prakriti, changeful elements. Non-changing is only the Atma. Now if we consider this Adhisthana as the Atma, then there comes the problem. We think that the Atma is also undergoing change. You can correspond it to it, you can match it with any of these. Suppose the it is called various viveka, that is all kinds of discrimination. Suppose sometimes I am saying I am sick, another time I am saying my body is not all right today. Is it not a contradiction? Sometimes I am saying body is mine, another time I am saying I am the body. One possessive case, another subject, that I am that. So truly speaking, what is the true statement? I am seeing the body change. It was small 20 years back, it was smaller, now it has grown, now it has changed, it has become weak or stronger or fat. All these changes I am seeing. So to find any change, there has to be a non-changing background. Is it not so? Suppose the clock, the arm is moving, the dial is steady. If the dial also moves with the arm, we will not know the time. Any change, to perceive the change, it has to be on the basis of something non-changing. Here I am perceiving the change of the body, this I is not changing and the body is undergoing a change. Similarly the mind, I can say it was just before that it was unhappy, now it has become cheerful. The change of the mind I am seeing. So the mind is also an object before me and I am not the unchanging I behind that. Buddhi also is like that. It is sharp, it was not sharp, it was dull, now it is sharp or so, whatever. All the changes in the buddhi we are saying. Then what is that unchanging I is the quest of spirituality, to find out that I. What is it that is unchanging? So we look within and within and within, find out where from this aham pratyaya is coming, where from that amness is coming in us. So, as long as we are looking for that amness, looking for that aham in us, there is a gadbad there, there is a problem. You will not be able to see it, because who are you? You are that, and you are trying to see yourself as a different something. You are trying to see that. Is it not? So actually you are trying to make the subject I as an object before you. You will never know. By the very process of trying to know who am I, we are trying to make the I as an object, to see it that one day the I will see as before me in meditation, the I has come up. Then it is not the I, it is the object. Clear nahi hai kya? So when we understand this by vichara, we understand that my effort to find out the I is working in the reverse manner. That itself is making the I an object, and it is never going to be successful. So what am I trying? What should I do? I should not try to see the I as we see the external objects of the mind and thought and all. Everything I am seeing. But in the case of finding the I, we should not try to look at the I as different. Not only that, we stop looking outside, looking for anything at all. Then the self reveals itself, because I am not looking at anything at all. And it reveals itself. So he says that Jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. That is the adhisthana chaitanya which is holding the whole jagat. Now, if we go further, if you compare again, yesterday I had mentioned, but because it is difficult, I am repeating again. If you compare that mirror example again, suppose the light is coming and falling on the mirror, and you are trying to find out who am I. That means with the light reflected from the mirror, you are seeing the external world. With that, you want to see where from the light is coming. That is the real I, the light coming from the sun. Is it not? You are not. So, what do we try to do? Generally in our meditation, we try to turn that mirror, that is our awareness, so-called awareness, Chidabhasa, towards the Chit, towards the original Atma. We are trying to turn it, to look into it. But that secondary light cannot reveal that. The secondary light gets dissolved there. So the Chidabhasa gets dissolved in the Chit, the original consciousness. When we are able to turn it fully, the Chit is the original consciousness, in which the small Chidabhasa, which gives me the identity of a separate identity, that gets dissolved. That is why they sing immediately that it is the universal, not only universal, it is transcendental, on which the whole universe is appearing to be. When we say universal, means universe is there and everywhere it is there. Actually it is not so. In this consciousness the universe is appearing to be. So everything is made of the consciousness. Or rather everything is in the consciousness. But what we think is the consciousness is within the body. Actually the body is in the consciousness. When we think the consciousness is in the body, we are thinking of that Chidabhasa, Adhisthana Chaitanya. That Adhisthana Chaitanya is nothing but the reflection of the Chit. When we are able to get dissolve that in the Chit, then Chit alone remains. And when the world comes, it rises in that. It just simply appears in that. It is the pratyaya, it is an unchallenging conviction. Because if I prove that you are not, are you going to accept it? Nobody will accept it. There are two kinds of knowledge generally. One is called pratyaksha, another is paroksha. Pratyaksha means direct perception and paroksha means inference. Most of our knowledges are inference. See, elementary particles nobody has ever seen. They are all inferences. And pratyaksha is whatever we are directly seeing here. But we have not seen the molecules or anything. Even God is an inference. Why? Because we are seeing everything is related by causality. That in the world from birth we are seeing everything related by causality. So naturally we look for a cause of the universe, that is ultimate cause. By its very definition there cannot be any ultimate cause. Because suppose you analyze the cause of anything, say B is the cause of A. Naturally you will ask that then what has caused B? You find out C is the cause of B. Then you will ask that what has caused C? You find D is the cause of C. Like that you go to any extent. Say Z. The question will still be there, what has caused Z? Is it not? It is never ending. This causality cannot take us to know if there is any absolute truth, it has to be transcending the causality, the duality. This is called infinite regression. In English it is called infinite regression. This causal logic will never end. You go on, it will never get terminated because you will again ask for the cause of that. In our Shastra it is called anavastha doshaha. Anavastha means you don't get at stable ground by that. It will go round and round. Actually it is a cyclic process. It is within the duality, everything is cyclic. Even time also, there is no origin of the time. If there is an origin of the time, when did time start? Has it got any meaning, this question? When the time started, if there is already a time, then how can you say that it is? So time is a cyclic process. These are great discoveries of our country, we don't know. In our country only the time is never regarded as linear. It is always a cycle. That is why we said that Brahmanda number, this yuga, that yuga. Time is always going on in cycle. Because time, duality, all these things are within the fold of the knower, subject and object different, the dual fold. The ultimate is revealed only when something is, this duality is transcended. That knowledge is called aparoksha. That is why I mentioned. This is not there in Western logic or so. Aparoksha means it is neither pratyaksha nor paroksha. It is a non-dual knowledge. That means it is a knowledge by itself. There is no difference of knower and the knowledge difference. In all cases, the knower is different from what he is knowing. In this case, the knower is the same as what he is knowing. So it is not the usual dual knowledge. It is non-dual knowledge, aparoksha. And it is called aparoksha anubhuti. So feeling means anubhuti. But it's not a bodily feeling. It's a revelation in the intelligence. It is ikshana. Aparoksha में जैसे actual aparoksha anubhuti we call the non-dual experience, which happens in samadhi. There the knower, knowledge, knowing process, that triputi difference is not there. Because who is knowing what? I am knowing I. The jnana knowledge is I. The knower is I. And there is no process, it just reveals. So there is no duality there. But there is another normal example of aparoksha also. That is what I am saying, that suppose that you are. It is not a pratyaksha. Have you seen yourself with the eyes also? That I in you. Can you see with any of the indriyas? Can you perceive with any of the indriyas? No. Is it an inference from anything? That you are, is it an inference? If it is an inference, I can disprove that you are not, but you will not accept. That means it's a direct conviction knowledge. So that you are is also an aparoksha knowledge. Although we do not use it for, we generally use the aparoksha term for the non-dual knowledge in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But this is also aparoksha. Similarly, that you have mind, is it not a direct perception for you? Are you seeing your mind with any of the indriyas also? No. If I prove that you don't have mind, will you accept? For others we can. That you have a mind is my inference. Because I am comparing with my reactions, with your reactions, and saying that he also seems to have a mind. If it is a robo, we can say that no, it doesn't seem to have a mind. Nay. So this Chidabhasa is, suppose a person is brain dead. Brain dead person. Perhaps, we have to say perhaps because it is an inference. He will not have this Chidabhasa, that he is not conscious of anything. But the life forces are still there. This vividhascha cheshta, that's the life forces, they are still operating, the body will remain there for months and years sometimes. I have seen a person remaining for 3 years or so, Malaysia mein, Seremban. More than that, I think. You don't know them? The boy? He had an accident, brain dead person. Now, the body is maintained, the life forces are there, but he is not, it appears he doesn't know anything at all. Because that reflection of the consciousness is not taking place. As in an unconscious person also. In unconscious person also, he is not knowing anything, because that point, the Chidabhasa is not there. The Adhisthana Chaitanya is not working. Awareness is not working. So it is equivalent to the mirror breaking or the mirror becoming opaque or whatever, that the functioning is going. It is just like a radio, suppose. The radio is producing the sound and all the music is going on. Suddenly one circuit breaks there. The music is no more there. Has anything happened to the radio waves propagating from Ranchi station or Jamshedpur station? It is still there, everywhere it is there.